Hello, Brendan.
Hi, Kat.
You're a dream.
Well, thank you. You're not so bad.
Oh wait,
yourself.
no, sorry. You have a dream.
Oh, it's completely different.
So this time you're leading us through the tune-up for the Ascaso Dream.
I am.
And also this works for the Dream Up as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. It works for just the Dream and the Dream Up. We
Okay.
have the Dream Up here.
Got it.
But yeah, let's just go through the rounds.
What's included in the kit first off?
So, well, we have our nice Seattle Coffee Gear directions for the Ascaso Dream Tune-Up Kit, which is right there.
Okay.
And then we have a descaling guide, which is right there. So just something to like help get you through descaling your machine. And
Don't
then
put my implements away, B.
well, they were in the way. Okay, and then there's some descal for descaling your machine.
Okay.
And then we have all the parts corresponding to your tune-up. So let's get those out right now. We have your diffuser screws and your brew screen screws.
Okay.
And there's your screen. And then we have your gasket. And then we have your shower holder gasket, your pod filter gasket, and your steam wand gaskets. And then we have your brew valve and your brew valve spring.
Cool.
Those are all the parts associated with the tune-up.
Okay. So I want to descale, do a thorough descale, and then do all this work?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And then how often do I do this?
I'd say if you're using your machine every day, you'd probably want to put new tune-up parts in your machine once every 3 descales.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's a good rule of thumb, you know, like say, hey, I just descaled my machine for the second time. Next time, I'm going to need to tune it up and get all these gaskets fresh again.
Okay.
And, you know, start purchasing the parts then, so when you're ready to descale, you got them all ready to go.
And if I've never done this before, what symptoms or issues might I see with my machine that would sort of advise me that this is going to solve that? Or
A couple
good idea?
things is if like your gasket's going bad,
Okay.
you know, your portafilter's making contact here and sealing. You might see some coffee grounds or maybe just water coming from above your portafilter and dripping down rather than out of the spout from the bottom.
Okay.
And that just means this is wearing out. Another big thing is if like you're dripping from the steam wand or from the brew head while it's heating up. And that's because this spring itself, which is holding that pressure, it doesn't have the amount of life it used to.
Okay.
So, you know, as it's heating up, the pressure's increasing, but the spring can't hang with it anymore. And it's like leaking a little bit. And if you're losing pressure, then you're losing temp.
Got it.
So that's another big thing that can happen.
Okay.
And some of these parts aren't very visible, so you wouldn't know that they were actually failing.
Okay.
But they are. If this is going bad, then your pod gasket is going bad as well as your shower holder gasket.
All right. So what do I do?
Okay, let's do it. So, like with the other tune-ups for these semis, I really like taking all the components off. Let's move that out of the way. There it is. And then turning the whole machine upside down.
So I got a good tray out.
The whole thing is so much more visible rather than trying to be all like that. You know, just makes it a lot more convenient. This one's nice because of this cup rail. It can kind of just sit right on there. You don't have to worry about scratching the machine or anything like that. Okay, so all I have here is a nice little short Phillips P1.
Stubby.
Yep, exactly. You can see right here you have this screw, and this one screw right here, all it's doing is holding in the screen. And then our other 3 screws will be exposed after we get this out. And this machine isn't exactly needing a tune-up. We're just kind of running through the rounds. Your machine, this screen will be very dirty. There will be coffee all over it.
So you might want to soak it or
it comes with
replace it.
so-
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you'll be all good.
Okay.
And then we'll take out these 3. This is your pod gasket. That's one of the gaskets in the tune-up kit. But rather than trying to install it here, you're going to want to get the whole diffuser out because it's a lot easier.
Okay.
And then the whole thing will come free with these 3 screws here. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And now our whole diffuser will come free. It's you kind of got to pick it up from both sides, otherwise it can get wedged in there a little bit. I got a nice little, there we go. Okay.
You can use like a small little screwdriver, or if you happen to have small children around. You can
Exactly.
use, okay.
With those tiny
Their
little
tin
fingers get in there. Yep.
Elves.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's our diffuser. And we're gonna want to. I have this. What I'm using right now is a little, like the smallest flathead ever for glasses. I find it really easy to use. You can get in there and just pull this right out. There's a nice little groove for this, and the whole pod gasket itself will just sit in that groove. And it's this is really doing is just holding the grounds in your portafilter.
Okay.
Let's get out our pod gasket here.
Or holding the pod.
Well, it's being utilized even without pods.
Okay.
The name for it is kind of misleading.
Kind of weird. Okay.
If you're using
that guy out, so that just is easy. You just push that, like, kind of seal it in and
exactly.
seat it.
It's really, that one's really easy to install.
Okay.
So now we know this is like good to install again.
Okay.
So we're just gonna put it there. Our new pod filter gasket's on there.
Now, if I took this out and it was kind of grubby and stuff, I'd want to clean that really
That's
well
a really
with the
good
brush.
idea. This is probably, you're gonna find that this is dirty on both sides.
Soak it.
Primarily here, yeah. Maybe even get like an old toothbrush that's
Okay.
not too abrasive. It can really clean it, and get some maybe like some Kafiza or things like that.
Okay.
And yeah, get that nice and clean.
Sounds good. All right.
So we still have these other older parts in here. Now let's first take out the spring and the ball valve, which is right here. And take note where this is facing right now as you're taking out. You know, I think a lot of people, they try to put the ball valve facing down, but you really want that facing up. That's the only way it's going to work.
Okay.
Okay, so, and like I said, this will be very used. You'll know right away it won't be as white. It will be more of an off-white, maybe even really close to a dark yellow.
Got it.
We've seen them in the repair shop, just all sorts of colors that they're being, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that's used. Let's get that over there. Let's get our shower holder gasket out. And this one it's really held in place by the diffuser. You can see that it's already kind of like coming out.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because it doesn't have the diffuser there to hold it. So we're going to take that one out as well. It's a very thin gasket, so be very careful. You know, some of these silicone ones can be a little easier to break. And that's actually why we give you 3 of the Steam Wand gaskets, because they can break during installation. That's very, very common.
Okay.
So let's get, actually, before we put the new shower holder gasket in, let's get the whole brew head gasket out itself, which is right here. I mean, the only way...
It's just resting in there.
Yeah, the diffuser holds this in as well. Tuning up this machine is very easy because that diffuser kind of keeps everything in place. So once you have that out, everything else goes in. Now this is kind of hard to get out. You got to get it around the portafilter locks. There we go. So I finally got a good hold of it. I mean, sometimes kind of folding it so it can get right there is a good way to go.
Okay.
So we're gonna put that over there. Those are all our used parts. So we got everything out. This is the brew head at its bare essentials here. So you'd want to clean all this out too, just to be sure. While you're in here, you might as well.
Okay.
You're probably gonna see, some residual coffee, things like that need to be cleaned out of there. Okay.
Now we're starting to do our install of our new ones.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm going to let's start with the gasket.
The main brew head gasket?
Exactly.
Okay.
We'll get that in there. Like you can kind of see how I'm folding it, and I'm kind of using the portafilter ear pass to get it in there. I'm using them for my advantage, kind of.
Okay.
So that's all in there. Let's get our shower holder gasket here now and place that in the groove. Let's see how well this can sit in there without the diffuser. Some of them don't sit in there very well, but it kind of depends. That's in there perfect. Cool.
Of course, because you put it in.
That's right, you know me.
Mr. Perfection.
All right, and then we got...
And so, okay, we're putting the new ball, little ball valve.
And spring, exactly.
Spring? Okay.
And that just sits in there, just like that. And what will happen is, don't worry too much about it sitting in there right. The diffuser will do that automatically. The diffuser has this nice groove there.
Okay.
And that will, it will keep that in place. Now the big thing to remember is it can be tricky lining up your diffuser with the screw holes that are there.
Okay.
So really, pay attention to that. You can see them through the holes of the diffuser, and when you put it in. So we'll line it up right. So we'll get this in here. The main thing I'm watching right now is this, and making sure the spring is going into that channel.
Okay.
That's the big thing. I'm placing it down, And we are good. And the good way to check is you can feel the spring. I know that's in place. Okay, perfect. Now let's see if we can line these screw holes up here. Let me see here. You kind of just gotta pivot it. Okay, I can see the threads now, which means that I'm all lined up.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get my screws, which I haven't taken out of the bag yet. Which I probably should have done. Get off. I know, what am I?
You were supposed to be prepared.
What a rookie move.
Rookie mistake, B.
Okay, I'm gonna get this all lined up here. And then we're just gonna do this with these, oh see, I don't think I'm perfectly lined up yet. It's not threading in, but that's fine. There we go. You kind of gotta just twist and turn it a little bit, and it's kind of it's machine thread, so it's really got to be right on.
Okay.
You got to have it lined up perfectly, so it will thread right. So we'll do one more of these, and then we'll do the screen, and then we'll take the steam wand cover off and replace those 2 gaskets, because that's a really good thing to do at this stage too, because if all these things need to be replaced, then your steam wand gaskets do as well.
It's time.
It's time. It's time. So get the screen on here. Okay, and there we're good. So your brew head right now is tuned up 100%. And just finger tighten this. You don't need to go any tighter with that. I mean, that's the water path as well, so you don't want to go too tight. So I'm going to flip this over now. Actually, let's do it like this. I've never done it like this. Maybe this will be easier. Who knows?
Okay. So that's the Panarello sleeve.
Exactly. So we'll take that right off. These are kind of working as friction O-rings as well, so just pull that right off.
Okay.
You can see on this particular machine, we actually have 2 different types of O-rings here, but whatever. So like I was saying earlier, we give you 3 just because this process you can break one. And let's see if I can go 2 for 2 here, installing them. It's really common breaking them when you're taking them off, especially. But one way to do it is just get down on each side and then start working it up. Eventually it should get out of that groove. Now I can just get the rest off with my hand.
I can never get out of the groove.
I kind of just made a rookie mistake too. You should take the one off farther down, because now it's going to want to go into that groove. So, and if it does do that, then you kind of got to do the same thing over again. But so, those of you at home, you might want to take the one farther down off first. Okay, so those are off, and look at that, didn't break one yet. That's good. And now we'll put these guys on. And like I said, sometimes it can be a bit of a trial. This first one's pretty easy. Good, how are we doing? We're good.
Yeah.
And then the second one. Perfect.
Muy bien.
Now let's see how well we're holding on here. That's perfect.
Good job, B.
Hey, thanks.
Despite all the rookie mistakes. Okay, so that's my tune-up and then I'm all good to go.
You are all good to go.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much, B.
No problem.